This broadcast is part of the IC Robots Radio Network. Visit icrobots.com for this and many other nerd/nostalgia-related podcasts. You won't be sorry for long.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire.
I don't wanna grow up, don't wanna grow up. I don't wanna grow up, don't wanna grow up. I don't wanna grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. There's a million toys at Toys R Us that I can play with.
Welcome to the Toys R Us Report, recorded live from inside the Patron Cellular Undersea Base 0001, 6.5 miles below the ocean surface. Radio, suckers never play him, he's in the mix. He's your host, IC Robots.
If you're looking for me, you better check under the sea. It is your dude, IC Robots, and I am not a hero, but I do sacrifice a bit of my week each and every week, make your week a bit less week. And this week, I think it's going to get a lot less week. We got a ton of fun stuff ahead of us. Going to talk about a whole bunch of movies I saw. Going to talk about a legend who's passed away this past week. I don't know. It's going to be fun. We're going to have a really good time. I got an iceberg remix of an old jam here. Let me see if I can find it on the drive. All right, hold it now. Hit it.
This is not insanity. This is how honesty looks. When you're inside out and upside down.
This broom tang slang will leave your headpiece hanging. Bust this, I'm kicking like seagull out for justice. The roughness, yes, the rudeness, the rocks. Red rum, I verbally assault with the tongue. Murder one, my style shock you not like a stun gun. You are listening to the Toys R Us Report. Must stay awake, must warn others.
That is our credo here at the good old IC Robots Radio Earth base. Yes, I am up here, not down there, or even up there on Callisto. I am in the Earth base here. As you guys know, we had plans for a bit of a snow trip. We were going to go up to Tahoe and do some sledding, I guess, throw some snowballs, make some snow angels, maybe make a snowman. What other beginner level snow type activities are there? I guess back when I was a young sprat in Illinois, we would try to make igloos. We didn't have those block molds that I see now. We would try to build igloos and have no success. We would try to build like snow walls, like walls of snow we could hide behind. We would like bury each other in the snow and throw snowballs and ice balls at each other and, stuff like that. So we had planned to drive up to Tahoe in the IC Robots mobile. Now, bear in mind that none of us have any experience like driving in the snow. It does snow here like once every blue moon. You recently could see the snow up on top of, I believe it's Mount St. Helena, but it doesn't not never snow down on like the ground level here. So we have zero zilcho experience in driving in those type of deals. And the trek up to Tahoe is like, it's like mountainous and stuff. And the day that we were scheduled to go down there, they got hit with like, I would call it not so much a storm, but a something. It warned for like potential blizzardous situations, and they ended up closing the roads. So we were unable to get up there. So we had like taken the week off for that, and the whole time it was blocked out. So we spent like the week here. We actually ended up like, we went to the dig like just about every day, which was an interesting experience. Quickly, the dig sort of gets into your blood. It quickly becomes like this easy part of your life. It was like we would get up, get dressed, eat some breakfast, head over to the dig, look around there for a while, and then we would like go see a movie or do something. We saw like every single movie that is out and worth seeing. So I don't know. It was a relaxing, fun time, but I did want to go to the snow. I did want to throw some snowballs. I think sledding is pretty fun. When you only do it like every few years, it's like really thrilling to go down like a sledding hill. I don't know. I felt bad that we missed out on it. I would have felt worse if we would have drove all the way there and then got turned back. The wife is more adventurous than your dude. She was like, we should just go and see if we can get through and see what happens. We should give it a shot. But your dude's like, if we go all the way there and then we just have to turn back, it's like 5 hours. I'm going to be like, that's 10 hours in the car for nothing. That's going to be dumb. I don't know if it's worth that. And plus, what if we go down there and we end up getting stuck like somewhere? What if the roads close both ways and we're trapped? I don't know. Does that happen? It could happen. But in the end, they ended up closing the road completely. So there was no ifs, ands, or arguments. We ended up being stuck here. So that was that. This past week, and by the time you guys hear this, this'll be old news, but this is the first time I'm getting a chance to talk about it. We lost two legends. Of course, one of them was Luke Perry. We all know and love Luke Perry. I love Luke Perry. I love him on Riverdale. I loved him on 90210. He brought sideburns back. Remember how like dudes would wear like sideburns like back in the 70s, right? Like the 70s, you had like mutton chops and all kinds of like sideburn style. But one of the credos of the 80s was a complete rejection of everything 70s. Eventually, 70s stuff became dope. But at first, you had to turn your back on disco and all that stuff. And mutton chops and sideburns were one of those things people turned their back on. Until Luke, as Dylan on 90210, brought those sideburns back. Sideburns are cool, man. I don't have the ability to grow like giant mutton chops, but if I did, I would. I might not. But also this past week, we lost professional wrestling legend King Kong Bundy. I have been like a wrestling fan for a really, really long time. I think that I first started hearing about wrestling like 1985. That was around the year of WrestleMania 1. My first exposure to wrestling was via wrestling magazines over at the Safeway. I would see the like Pro Wrestling Illustrated and The Wrestler and stuff, and the pictures of these wacky dudes in wacky costumes, sometimes like covered in blood, really, really intrigued me. But I could never find wrestling on TV. I have come to understand that at one point we had like a real thriving local scene out of San Francisco, but I could never find it on TV. Eventually I started watching WWF Superstars on Channel 2 on Saturday, and then later Sunday mornings on KTVU, they would have like WWF Wrestling Challenge, or maybe it was the other way around, but they were like these 2 1-hour shows, and I started to get into that. One of the major dudes at the time that I started to actually see wrestling was King Kong Bundy. He was like in the middle of this storyline where he like put Hulk Hogan on the disabled list with like an avalanche splash. He was like this giant obese guy with a black singlet and a bald head. He looked like one of those Eminem cartoons that you see in the commercials. But imagine that with like more of a formed head. But he like trapped Hulk Hogan in the corner and he crushed him, and Hulk had like damaged ribs and stuff. He would go around wearing like tape around his rib area, and Bundy would like get heat by yanking the tape off and going to work on the middle section of Hulk Hogan. But they met up and wrestled at WrestleMania 2, and that was one of the first big wrestling events that I ever recall being part of the build-up. You know, I was watching it as the storylines progressed. So I was like crazy into WrestleMania 2. We didn't get the pay-per-view. My folks wouldn't spring for it. I get it. Those things are pricey, but I snuck out after everybody went to bed, and I called a 900 wrestling hotline, you know, a 1-900 wrestling 1-900 wrestling fact. I wonder what the actual hotline was. I have absolutely no recollection of that, but I snuck out after everyone had gone to bed. I snuck out under cover of darkness, and I called this wrestling hotline. I hid behind a curtain, and I called it, and I found out in fact that Hulk Hogan had defeated King Kong Bundy. He body slammed him, dropped the leg, and he pinned him. That was what Hogan did every match. Every single match, Hogan would get worked over, and then all of a sudden he would miraculously come back, body slam the dude, drop the leg, win the match. It was annoying. It bothered me. I never felt Hulk Hogan. I respect him as a cultural figure or whatever, but I was never a Hulk Hogan guy. So I was bummed out a bit when I saw that King Kong Bundy did not win. The basic formula of the WWF at that time is that Hulk Hogan was the champ, and they would bring in new dudes to fight him all the time, and I would always root for the new dude. I would always want them to beat Hogan, but they never did. But back to King Kong Bundy, I really did think he was going to beat Hulk Hogan. He had this gimmick at the time where he would give the guy the avalanche splash, and when the referee would count 1, 2, 3, Bundy would insist that you count 2 more, and you take it to 5, 4, 5. It was the ultimate disgrace. You were held down not for 3 seconds, but for 5 seconds. I had a few different King Kong Bundy figures. I had a small rubber bandy, an LJN. I had the bigger LJN. That might be the only 2 that I had. I do remember at one point I saw in Toy Fair magazine, some company they were coming out with these kind of off-brand wrestling figures. They made Abdullah the Butcher, and then they made King Kong Bundy. But one of the variants to the Bundy was that he came covered in blood, they painted red blood all over his face, and I definitely wanted that. He also appeared on Married with Children. I think that he was Al's cousin or Al's brother, or maybe he was Peg's brother. I did watch that show, but I'm foggy on a lot of the details. That was many moons ago, but I was into Married with Children. I wonder why I have a very slim recollection of any of the episodes. I probably could not tell you even one episode of what happened on Married with Children, but I think I would say that I've seen every single one, at least most of the early season ones. That's weird. Anyway, I guess they're bad writing. Just doesn't stick to your brain. I am up here rather, in the Earth base, like I said, and I can see right from here. I can see my LJN King Kong Bundy over there on the shelf. I was way into that dude. He was in his early 60s when he's passed, but I don't know. When your gimmick in life is that you are morbidly obese, I guess you can't expect to live a super long life. But while he was here, he was a shining light. Our dude King Kong Bundy was a monster among men. He headlined WrestleMania. That's a giant deal. He fought Hulk Hogan. He fought Devon Eriks. He did all sorts of great stuff. The lights that go out the quickest are the ones that shine the brightest, and that's what we got to say about you, King Kong Bundy. It's with a sad, heavy heart that I have to say, King Kong Bundy, they reminisce over you.
The 5. And the referee obliges him. Give me a break, ref.
Well, would you rather see another splash, Monsoon?
In a moment, at the movies without Ebert, Siskel, or even that Drew Roper, but you got icy robots, so that's something, right?
On February 22nd, experience the feel-good comedy of the year.
Have you got a stiffy?
Excuse me? So don't worry about being the next me. Be the first you.
Hey, you can't just hang out with The Rock.
Fighting with My Family. Rated PG-13.
Like I said earlier in the show, the snow trip was a wash, and we got stuck here in Santa Rosa, and we saw a lot of movies. I'm going to talk about a couple of them right now, and then I'll mention the other ones. I'll throw some mics at the other ones too. But the The first movie that we saw was a flick called Fighting with My Family. Fighting with My Family is a WWE production. They are the company, of course, once known as the WWF. If you don't know, they make movies. They make a lot of like straight-to-DVD movies starring their wrestlers. Like, there's the one where this guy, The Miz, plays this character called the Marine. I think there've been there's been at least 3 different Marine movies. They started the Marine series with John Cena. Then I also know, like, Dolph Ziggler made a movie, and they made a horror movie with Kane. There's been all sorts, but this one was made in conjunction with the Rock. So this one actually got to go to the big screen. I think the other ones, they might go to the big screen, but in like a super small release, I think. But this was like a full-on movie. It is the tale of former WWE Divas champion Paige. Paige is British. She kind of has like a goth thing going on. She has like black hair, white face. She's all like Hot Topicked out, you know. And she and her family have been running a wrestling business over in Britain for what seems like forever. They have like a small time indie wrestling sort of thing. With Paige and her brother, this guy who wrestles as Zach Zodiac, they're the 2 big stars of the group, but they dream of like WWF fame. I think that this whole thing is based off a reality show that they did in Britain about the family. I'm not actually sure, but they run this wrestling thing and they have their 2 stars. Their hope is that they'll all go to the WWF and then come back and like headline in the group, and the group will get like way bigger and sell out like Wembley Stadium or whatever. And they are lucky enough to get an invite to a tryout when the WWE comes to town, and they do their best, they bust their humps, they give all they got for the tryout, but only Paige gets picked. Zach Zodiac gets left behind. That's not a spoiler. That's all in the trailer. That is the big conflict of the movie. Zach is the one who wanted the WWE dream. Paige wanted it too, but Zach wanted it like, he wanted it super hard. He was the chosen one, and he didn't make it, so he has resentment toward Paige, who gets to move to Florida and train with Vince Vaughn. It was like a fun movie. It was okay, I guess. I am, a bit of a wrestling fan, so I felt like I was nitpicking at the movie and finding the parts that weren't like accurate. And movies like this they're always inaccurate. It's just the way that it is. And I was kind of drawn out of it because of that. But the wife liked it a lot. She thought it was like, nice feel good kind of Hallmarky sort of thing, which was what it is. The WWE production values are they're real similar to like a Hallmark holiday movie. They don't have that that big screen feel, but still, it was fine. I had a decent time. It was a bit silly. There was all these run-ins with the Rock, like when they would get down, when Paige would get down, the Rock would show up and give her a pep talk and bring her back, because one time backstage they met up before the tryout, and that's not a spoiler either. That's in the trailers, and the Rock gave him a pep talk, and then whenever Paige is down, the Rock shows up, picks her back up. One of the conceits of the movie, one of the things you have to accept if you're going to watch the film is that Paige is not a hot chick because she has dark hair. It's her against all these, for lack of a better term, blonde sort of like bimbo types, and they're all competing for what seems like one job in the WWE, and you have to accept that Paige is not pretty because she has dark hair. It's like one of those 80s movie tropes where the girl is not cute because she has glasses, and maybe she wears her hair up with a with a bun with a pencil in it or something. They're not cute. You can't see the supermodel they have hidden under those spectacles. But at any rate, it was fine. It was fun. It was decent. I did not have a bad time. I laughed a few times. It wasn't like up to the snuff of a like a Oscar type movie. It was definitely the feel of like a straight to DVD movie that was put in the cinema because of the power of The Rock. So, with all that said, on the good old-fashioned Source Magazine mic meter, with 1 being a dud and 5 being an all-time classic, I am going to give Fighting With Your Family a, I don't know, 2.5 mics?
2.5 mics. Arctic, starring Mads Mikkelsen.
It's okay.
The second movie that we saw was a movie called Arctic. It stars Mads Mikkelsen. Isn't it weird that the name of the place is Arctic? Arctic. I always just say Arctic. I went to see this at the Arty Farty Theater, and in my mind, I imagined the snooty cashier. Like, I go up there and I'd go, 2 for Arctic, please. And he goes, we don't have a movie here called Arctic. We have a film called Arctic. Is that what you meant? And I'd go, yes, I meant Arctic. And he would give me my tickets, and I would feel put down. But that didn't happen. I think that I did say Arctic, and they gave me the tickets. Anywho, the movie stars Mads Mikkelsen, who you might know from, he was in Rogue One. He was Jyn Erso's dad, Galen Erso. He's the one that calls her Stardust. He's a real interesting actor. He's a real, like, interesting looking dude too. The story of Arctic is that he's some kind of a pilot, and he has crash landed in the Arctic many moons ago, and I don't know why he hasn't been found up until this point. I guess the answer is it's a lot of area to traverse looking for the dude, and who knows, maybe he was off course for some reason. They don't know where to look for him, but it seems like he's been out there for quite a long time, and he's not really doing that bad for himself. He has like these fishing rigs set up for the sort of like under the ice fishing type stuff, and they gather fish for him all the time. He lives inside of the airplane. It's not great by any means, but it seems as if he can survive indefinitely until he is eventually found. But things go mad awry. Like, one day he sees a helicopter. He sees a helicopter coming. He's like, I'm going to get rescued. So he goes out to try to, signal that he's there when the helicopter crashes. This is all in the trailers. It's not a spoiler. The helicopter crashes. One of the pilots doesn't make it, and he is left taking care of the other pilot, who is like completely busted up. She is at death's door. So he decides, we got to get out of here. At first, he was just going to wait until they found him, but now he's like, we got to get out. She's not going to survive very long. So he starts on this quest to take her over a mountain and out of harm's way. This was a real good movie. For the most part, it's silent. He talks a little bit. He talks to her. His watch beeps. Basically, it's Mads Mikkelsen walking through the Arctic carrying a what would you call it? Like a litter? I guess he has like a litter with her in the back, and they face just all sorts of perils, as you can imagine. There's like a polar bear on their trail. The weather, just the weather itself, getting enough calories to survive. This is a harrowing journey, and this was a very, very exciting movie. I liked this one quite a bit. It was only 98 minutes, which is also perfect, because let's be honest, as interesting an actor as good old Mads Mikkelsen is, they just got him walking around in the snow, and 90 minutes is the perfect length for something like this. It was great. I thought it was dynamite. The movie was written by this guy named Joe Papa, who's never written a flick before, so for the first time out, I gotta give it up to him. It was put out by Bleecker Street. Bleecker Street's been putting some interesting stuff out. as of late. I don't go and see like every Bleecker Street movie, but I do try to catch them when I see it. I know that there is like a certain degree of quality. They put out like Papillon, they put out what else did I see? Beirut, Leave No Trace was pretty good. I don't know, Lost City of Z, Megan Levy, Logan Lucky. These were all some recent Bleecker Street flicks. I don't know like how much there is to say about this. It's a survival flick. He goes out there, he tries to survive. It was good stuff though. Very, very well put together. So I would say on the good old-fashioned Source Magazine Mike meter, with 1 being a dud and 5 being an all-time classic, I would give Arctic a solid 3.5 mics.
3.5 mics.
There were a couple other movies I saw. Let me look at the list. I want to get like a second for all of these. I saw Fighting with My Family. We saw Alita, Battle Angel Alita. That was okay. I don't really go for these kind of like animated manga style things, but it was all right. The problem was the movie was mad long. It felt like it was going on for hours, but it had Mahershala Ali, it has Jennifer Connelly in it, it has Christoph Waltz. So like, how bad could it be? Plus, it's directed by Robert Rodriguez. If you like sort of thing with like androids and dystopian futures and all sorts of manga type stuff, you might like it. I gave it 2.5 mics.
2.5 mics.
And then we saw How to Train Your Dragon 3. I think I saw How to Train Your Dragon. I know I didn't see How to Train Your Dragon 2. I thought it was fine, the first one, but I didn't feel like seeing the second one. But the wife and the kid, they saw it and they loved it. They were dying to see this, so see it we did, and I don't know, it didn't make a lot of sense to me. I guess these people are like obsessed with dragons, and this other people are like obsessed with killing all the dragons. I don't know. It was okay. It had Jerry Butler in it. I am like a huge Gerard Butler fan, and I don't know why. This guy, he puts out like this certain type of silly action movie that I really dig. So I see almost everything that Gerard Butler's in. So maybe in that sense, that's why I go. I don't know. I wouldn't know how to rate this movie. It didn't make like a ton of sense to me. The animation was good. There were some laughs. I wouldn't say that I minded seeing it by any means. It went by pretty quickly. So I don't know. 3 mics, maybe. I guess I liked it better than Battle Angel Alita. It was shorter, so it had that going for it.
3 mics.
Covering the world of vintage and current film and television since 2010.
Shall we play a game?
Featuring in-depth conversations on sci-fi, horror, fantasy, comics, toys, and conventions.
Game over, man. It's game over.
Geekfest Rants is an entertainment podcast for genre geeks like you.
So say we all.
Join us by listening in at iTunes, YouTube, and at geekfestrants.com.
You made it this far, it's time. The final segment. The IC Robots Radio pop culture / toy news / other boring stuff informational moment.
All right, it is me and we are back. You guys don't know this, but for the first time ever in the history of the show, I have gone back in after I completed the episode and I am re-recording this entire segment because a new tale has come to life and I want to get it out there while it is still fresh. So here is that tale. I do not know if you guys know, but a while back we were taxed with fostering these 2 kittens. They were found on the side of a road. They were all scraggly, and we did not think that either one was going to make it, but in fact they both did. We had to spoon feed them, but before we spoon fed them, we had to bottle feed them. They were, I'm not even kidding. They were like as small as like small apples. They were really, really, really tiny. And we just didn't think they would make it, but we managed to help them out. They were brave. They pulled through. One of them, the orange one. There was an orange one and a black one. The orange one has grown up fine. He does seem like he has some hearing issues. He has possibly some vision issues. I'm not super sure, but he's more or less fine. But the black one, she stayed super small. I'm not even kidding. She is maybe like 6 inches long, not counting her tail. She has a big fluffy tail, but her body is really small. She has difficulties like jumping up on the couch. Like that's how small she is. We have a decent sized backyard on the Earth base, and we have a dog door, so the dogs and the cats and stuff can go play in the backyard. We feel fine having the little black one play in the backyard, but we do not allow them to go in the front. Not that the front is dangerous. We live in a suburb, but I don't think that she would be able to hop the fence to get back into the yard. I think that she can only get in through the cat door and stuff. So we keep a pretty close eye on her. I think she has like an adventurous spirit. She doesn't know that she's a runt. She thinks she can do anything. And this led to her getting out the front door one night. The thing was, we did not discover that she had gotten out the front door until it was just about bedtime. We normally go to bed at like 11:15 or so, and we didn't discover until it was about that time. So we went out and we looked around for her a bit, but we weren't entirely certain that she wasn't just like hiding somewhere in the house. You know how cats, you know how they do, they have all these like nooks and crannies where they hide it. We didn't know if she was out front or hiding in the house. So we went to bed, but neither of us really slept well, because while I am not a cat person per se, we do have a couple cats, and I don't hate them or anything. I'm definitely a dog person. I would say I love the dogs, and I allow the cats to live in the house because they need somewhere to live. They can live here. It's fine. We have a cat door. I prefer they stay outside. For the most part, they do, and it's all good. But the small black baby is so small and so runty and just deficient in every area that we try really, really hard to keep a close eye on her. So when we woke up the next morning and she still wasn't around, we started to get a bit nervous. She loves to eat more than anything that there is. She will always, always, always show up for her meal. So when she didn't show up for the morning feeding, we got worried, and we started going out and like walking around and calling her name. We were calling Baby. When we got the two of them, we didn't give either one names because, to be honest, we didn't think that they were going to make it. So we called the black one Baby because she was small, like a little baby. She was the black baby. And then we called the orange boy just the orange boy. He's still just the orange boy. We never gave him names. It's weird, but that is just what it was. So we were kind of out in front of the house going, Baby, Baby, hoping she would just show herself like she wanted to go home. But then the wife had to go to work, and I was still off from the ski trip. So I went up and down the street, and I called out Baby, and I couldn't find her anywhere. But I still wasn't certain that she wasn't somewhere in the house. So I thoroughly searched the house. I went under the house. I went everywhere she could possibly be. And then finally I was certain she wasn't here. So I went back on the street, and I brought my dog Ursa. I thought maybe if she saw Ursa, she would come out. And I'm looking around, but I can't find her anywhere. And I'm starting to get nervous, right? Because when I say she's small and I say she's deficient, I'm not really getting across how deficient she is. She cannot at all survive out on her own. So I'm getting nervous, and I put up like a couple signs because I figured she's somewhere on the block, and I can't find her because she can't get very far. But also, in the back of my head, I thought maybe she just dropped dead. She's so meager and she's so sickly that if she just fell over dead one day, it wouldn't be like a giant surprise. So I thought maybe she just got out somewhere and passed away. I couldn't I just couldn't figure out where she went. I spent like the whole day looking. I went to the neighbors' houses. I talked to the neighbors over here, talked to the neighbors over there, and nobody had seen her. And I was getting pretty weird because I feel like it's my duty to take care of my pets. And I started thinking, she's somewhere. She's out there, and she wants me to find her, and I can't find her. I started getting I got really, really upset. And then my dude, Engineer Nerd, messaged me to say that there was like a blank spot in last week's episode, which is true. I made a mistake when I was moving the files around, but he messaged me to tell me that, and I was not in any way in the mood. So I snapped at him. I felt like I snapped at him. I later apologized and explained to him how I was looking to the cat. So I feel like it's all good in the hood, but I couldn't find her. That's the message of the story. And then it's getting later and later and later, and it's dark again. And the wife comes home, and by this point I'm like run ragged from looking. It's very exhausting to look because I'm so invested. I want to find her. I want her to be safe. I want her to be back at home. And then the more I fail, the harder it gets. The more you fail, the more it feels like you're always going to fail. You start feeling, I will never find her. This is bad. And then finally, the wife comes home and she goes, I'm going to go out and I'm going to look. And I say, okay, you go do that. Maybe you'll have more luck than I am. So she's going up the street. She goes up one way. She goes back the other way. She goes back the other way. And I can hear her out front. But she, instead of saying baby, she's yelling beast. Because sometimes we call the black baby the beast. She does like to fight. She's always jumping on her brother and attacking him. And every time we do it, she's like, oh, look. She's unleashed the beast. The beast is going to attack. So the wife is going up and down the street going, beast, beast. And finally, I hear her yell, I found her. And I run out, and it's all the way down the block. But I jog all the way down the block, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you found her. She's like, yes, I said beast. And she ran out of the bushes, and she ran right up to me. So the story had a good ending. I guess in her mind, she's the beast. I think of her as the baby, but she is grown, and she sees herself as the beast. But the beast is safe. I don't want you guys to think that I'm some kind of a cat person. I wasted 10 minutes telling a cat story. It's more story of a rescue than it is about cats, because I am not a cat person, but I do live up to my responsibilities. If a pet comes and lives with me, I will take care of it. Whether I love it or like it or not, it's mine, and I'll do what's necessary to keep it safe. And I was feeling really, really bad that I couldn't keep her safe. Let's see what else is going on. I've already done this segment, so I'm kind of redoing it in my head. Let's check the text message that we got. We got a good one, and this is also from Engineer Nerd. If you want to reach out to the show and send me an audio message or a text message or whatever, you can do so by calling 707-532-JAMS. That's 707-532-5267. And he says, what cartoon that didn't have toys from a young ISR life would you have really wanted to have toys? And I'm like, that's a good question. I thought about it for a little bit, and I kind of think what I would have wanted the most were toys from the Hanna-Barbera cartoons. I always wanted a Scooby and a Shaggy to play with my Star Wars dudes. I wanted Space Ghost. I wanted the Herculoids. Let's look at some list here of the some Hanna-Barbera titles that I would have wanted. Well, Scooby-Doo would be dope. Fred Flintstone, I would have been into that. The Skate Birds would have been fun. Popeye, I would have liked a Popeye. I would have liked, I don't know, man. I could never figure out why Hanna-Barbera was not more into marketing their products. I'd go to the store and there would be toys for all these things, but I could never find a Scooby-Doo statue. I could never find a Scooby-Doo action figure. I could never find a little Shaggy, a little Daphne, a little Fred, a little Space Ghost. Any of these things that I would have wanted. Also, I also wanted Smurfs. I know they made those PVC Smurfs, but I wanted Smurf action figures with articulation and stuff. And I did not never get that. And that was a bit of a bummer. So, Engineer Nerd, I appreciate the question. It's a good one. It's a pretty good one. I I probably could have named a million different things, but I'm going to focus in on these Hanna-Barbera properties. If you want to reach out to the show, it is 707-532-JAMS. That is 5267. I'm going to flip the script. We didn't do this the first time around, but I'm going to do Amigo unboxing right here as we speak. I got Andre the Giant from Target.com. It seems like all the new ones that are Target exclusives are available right now, like Farrah Fawcett, Marilyn Monroe, Joe Namath, Andre, and who was it? Muhammad Ali. So I bought the Andre. I like Andre as everybody else does, I guess. Let's pull him off the card. Let's try to be delicate here so we don't like rip it to shreds. I don't even see. I got my finger in there. So opening up Andre. We're gonna release him now. The card's nice. It has a good black and white picture of Andre on the front with an Andre autograph. Let's put that aside. He comes on a tray inside, so that's pretty neat. He comes with a little small chair to make it seem like Andre is big. Andre is 8 inches, like every other Migo is. It would have been cool if they could have added like an extra inch so that he came across taller than the other guys, but I get it. Migos are 8 inches. It seems like a lot of Migo things are ways to keep the cost down. Making them all like 8 inches is one way to do it. He has a bit of a belly. I wonder if they're using the George Wendt body from Cheers. The head sculpt is really nice. It looks like Andre. He has his signature black singlet and his black boots, and also he has a belt. It is, for those of you that follow wrestling, he has the Winged Eagle WWE belt, but it says World Heavyweight Champion. I like him. I think he's pretty cool. He's going to be another sparring partner for Action Jackson. He has the standard Migo articulation, the 14 points. Migos are fun. You can really pose them. I found out that my dude on Twitter, Esquilito, does not like Migos. He prefers action figures that are like molded plastic, like G.I. Joe's. I think he doesn't like the clothes. That's my take on it. And I dig that because it took me a while to get over the fact that like I'm playing with dolls. Because Migos are dolls. They have clothes. Some of them have rooted hair. That's a doll as far as I'm concerned. Andre has molded hair. I prefer the molded hair myself. I like this guy. You can't really see, but I'm posing him right now. I'm playing him. He's looking around for Hulk Hogan. He wants to smash that fool. I like Andre. He's like not an awesome wrestler or anything, but he's like a mythic figure in the lore of our society. So I dig this Migo. I'm going to put him over there. I had to start a new Migo shelf. I got 2 shelves that have all my Migos, my recent new purchase Migos, and I have them in front of some lunch boxes that I have. I like lunch boxes too. I don't talk about that much, but I keep my eye out for lunch boxes at the flea market. But I got the one whole shelf up on top, and then I got another one underneath, and I've had to start a third shelf. So far only Muhammad Ali is on there, but Andre's going to join him, and eventually Bruce Lee is going to join them both because I put out a pre-order on Bruce Lee the other day. I don't think he's going to come till April, but I'm looking forward to getting that. Should be dope. Okay, we are just about out of here. We picked up a new patron this week, and if you feel like that's something you might be interested in, if you want to be interested in helping us out, you can do so over at supportthereport.com. This new chap is a fella. He goes by the name of Edward. Ed, I want to thank you a lot for signing up and helping us out. It really means a lot to me, even more so than getting like a small paycheck every month for doing the show. It's really nice just to see that some of you guys feel like this is important enough in your life that you want to help support it, man. That makes me feel good. Think of Patreon as a way to make me feel good. I like to think that in some ways I help improve your life. I help you to like make your week a little less weak. If you want to make my week a little less weak, you can do so by going over to supportthereport.com, like our man Ed, and signing up to help us. And it's not like it's not like you don't get anything for it. You definitely do. We got like a whole bunch of patron-only shows over there. There's the audio handbook of the Marvel Universe. That's over there. There is the all-new, all-exciting POS, the patron-only show. That's my baby right now. I love that show so much. I think that show is actually more fun than this show, if you can believe that there's anything more fun than this. I know that's hard to accept. We got like, I don't know, a few minutes away from finishing an all-new POS. So I think that one is going to be available not this Monday, but the Monday after the next episode comes out. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Ed, thanks again. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Next week's show is going to be fun. We're going to a toy show in Sacramento, the Sac Toy Con, and the keynote guest is Keon Young. He did the voice of Storm Shadow on G.I. Joe, but he was also Woo in Deadwood. He's the guy who would go swedgin' all the time. I'm really looking forward to seeing him, and I hope he's doing a panel because, as far as I know, they have completed shooting on the Deadwood movie, so he might have some insight. He might have some dirt. Also, the guy who does the voice of Dr. Mindbender is going to be there. So this should be fun. If they do any panels, I will probably record those and put them over on Patreon for those who are more supportive. You get the fun panels. I don't know. That should be great. We'll talk about Captain Marvel. That should be dope. I'm looking forward to that. So, until then, this is me, Icy Robot, signing off. This is the Toys R Us Report, episode number 187. If you don't know, now you know.
This has been an IC Robots Radio production. IC Robots Radio is a listener-supported endeavor. If you like what we do and we make your day a little easier, please consider tossing a few bucks our way to help keep the life support running. All money collected goes to help us prepare for future space pirate attacks. Go on over to supportthereport.com for all the details. Thanks and have a great week.
Everybody love everybody! Come on!
Portions of our broadcast day may be presented either in whole or in part by means of videotape or film reproduction. This is KTXL TV 40, signing off the air, ending another schedule of broadcasting. KTXL, Sacramento, Stockton, California.